Hey, hello, happy midweek hybrid crew for general anatomy and physiology. As you know, we're in week 7 right now. For lecture content this week, you've got some material over the organization generally of the nervous system and some of the details of the central nervous system, which will pair nicely with some of the anatomy that we did in lab. And you've also got the start of the cardiovascular system material in the form of a lecture on blood. Now, those two lectures combined together, I think the run total time is less than 20 minutes or so, or maybe just a little bit more. But that's far less than things like the muscular system and the nervous system, which means that it's not necessarily easy. There's just less stuff this week in lecture than we've had in previous weeks. And it's a little bit less technical. It's a little bit more straightforward, just kind of true learning the content. In lab this week, we've got structures from the brain, the eyeball, the ear, the neuron, and the spinal cord. So please be prepared. Your exams coming up this week, which we'll get to in a moment, will cover this content as well as the previous couple of weeks. So it's a good time. We're almost at mid-semester. It's a really good true time to take a look at your grade, not just the individual quiz score grades, but your cumulative grade, and ask yourself some hard questions. Is that the grade that you want? And if that's not the grade you want, please know that there's lots of opportunities to change that. Grades can definitely go up. It's just as well as they can go down. So you got to be mindful about that. Probably the more important question as you think about program is that the grade you need? And if you don't currently have the minimum grade that you'll need for your program, then you have to change it. There's just no free lunch. The course is not going to get easier. Every week that you know on quizzes, on exams, all of the content in the lecture presentations is fair game. That stuff is spread around. All of the content in lab, including the spelling, is fair game. And that stuff is finite. You're presented with it. You're given all of it. Your job as a student is to carve out the time that you need to assimilate that. And if you need to spend more time on it, then that's something that you need to change. As we start to get into the second half of the semester, opportunities to improve grades are going to diminish because you've got this weight of points behind you. Also, the exams start to weigh more kind of consecutively as the semester goes by. And I know this is supposed to be motivational, and I know it's not, but I'd rather have you be just a little bit nervous and anxious about this and take the steps that you need to correct your grade than be totally comfortable with where you are and not make any changes. That's my job. It's my job to advocate for you and present this material and hold you accountable for it, but also walk you through this if you need to improve. So truly take a critical look at your scores, and if they're not where they need to be, then you definitely need to make some changes. And as you know, there's just too much stuff to cram in at the last minute. If you're trying to learn the spelling on a whole bunch of muscles in the last 5 minutes before the lab quizzes, that's just never going to work. So always start early during the week. Everything's available for you. So whether you've had lab by then or not, or maybe you've missed some of that stuff, all that's available. You actually have the scripts, the written context for all of the presentations. And I know you can do this, and I would love nothing more than for all of you to have what you want moving forward after this class. But when I take a look at the grade books, I tend to be a little bit concerned with some critical areas. So I've sent every single one of you an individual email, and I've heard back from a number of you. If you're not checking your emails on a regular basis, that's a good place to start, right? Part of being a responsible student, especially in a hybrid class where we don't see each other for all the content, will be to stay connected. And if you need to sign up for alerts on your phone, that will be a great way to do it. You do have sort of two email accounts. There's the email that goes through the Canvas platform, but then there's also the St. Kate's Gmail account, and you'll be getting emails on both of those. You can link them together and have them appear so that you're always staying tuned. If you're missing points on assignments because you're not reading instructions, well, that's easily fixable. If you're starting the assignments too late and not getting them in on time, that's easily fixable. So my wish for all of you is to learn a whole bunch of stuff in this course and be successful throughout it so that you can go on to whatever's next. Some of you I'll see next semester, some of you will go on into program. But in order to do that, there are minimum grade requirements. And if you're on that borderline, please know that staying at that borderline throughout the entire semester is not going to work, because the final exam, the third round of exams and the final exams are really worth a lot of points. Please hang in here with me. It's Wednesday, so you've got lots of time to do this stuff. You get time to start. Hours per day is really required. The folks who are successful in this class, and I've spoken with almost everybody about study tactics really do spend hours and hours and hours on this, because that's what it will take. There's a critical skills assignment, due Friday night, and that will help you remember the muscle cell anatomy, or the anatomy of the neuromuscular junction specifically, down to the level of the myofilaments. And then I'll ask you to sort of recreate the pathway so that you can keep track in your brain of how those events occur, starting from a neuron impulse, which is, we now know, the end of an axon, a terminal arborization, starting with a nerve impulse and ending with the contraction of a muscle cell. Hang in here with me. Please keep working. I'll see you all on Monday. Thank you for the work. You can totally do this.